to another edition of the SNDP Podcast Show on the Schmuck Sports Network, episode 56. Dan, how you doing this week?
Great. How's it going? Once again, our New York sports teams are still slacking. Actually, no one's above 500 right now.
My Facebook status said it the best. The most exciting blue and orange team right now is the New York Mets.
Yeah. The Rangers and Knicks don't know how to win at home.
The Islanders don't know how to win.
The Islanders don't know how to win at all. The coach still has a job. A lot of coaches should be fired or still have a job that are lucky. A bunch of teams. We can get into that. Both New York football teams, the Jets are hanging on by a thread, but unrealistically.
We'll talk about them later on.
The New York Giants' season is also rest in peace with that brutal loss to the San Diego Chargers.
Finally pulled the plug. Yeah, that's what happens when you start a season 0-6.
Yeah, you didn't really expect much. I know the 4-game winning streak was nice, but it was against no one of that awesomeness with the quiet quarterbacks.
Just think that if Rodgers plays that game, it wasn't a 4-game winning streak.
Yeah, pretty much. But it is what it is. You can't go 0-6 and expect to make the playoffs. It's just too much of a mountain to climb, especially in the NFL. How about RG3? We can't forget to talk about RG3 later on.
We'll talk about him later on.
That mess in D.C. is just crazy. But before we talk about the NFL and NHL, we have a fun fact show with basketball with the Knicks and Nets. We have Alex from
the Brooklyn Net fan club.
So we are excited to talk about Nets with them. Maybe they can wake up and start a winning streak. They already have 2 on the night we're recording. Maybe they could start getting a couple more wins.
And they're getting healthy.
They are getting healthy, the most important factor in this whole situation for the Brooklyn Nets.
But we will talk to Alex a little later on. But right now, we're going to go play a little more Freak Show by Division 1.1.
All right, welcome back to the S&D Podcast. We're just going to start the show off with the New York Football Giants. We got to say our final respects to the 2013. They're not playing in 2014, so their 2013 season.
Well, they will be next September.
They got smoked by the San Diego Chargers. We both went homer pick last week and picked them to win. Fortunately, they did not show up. 37-14. Yikes. Where do you want to start for this ugly game? It was 14-0 before the Giants even blinked. Typical Giant fashion.
It's scary. You kind of felt confident, even though it was 14-0 at that time, and they looked bad. Just the way it's been going this year, you kind of felt like they're going to bounce back and turn around.
Yeah, it was just an ugly game. I'm actually really happy that it was just stupid penalties again. We got all the first half.
Singer in the end zone.
They gave up points. They missed an easy field goal, but we lined off sides and we gave them another shot for a field goal and they hit it. It's ridiculous. That made it 10. It made it 10-0, and they just kept on piling up. Peyton Hillis scored and nothing until the third quarter. So when Matthews rushes over 100 yards against your team, you know something's wrong. It's just really just a lackluster game. They flew all the way to the West Coast to get smoked. You got to give San Diego Chargers the awesome tip of the hat. Allen's a stud. He's going to be a great wide receiver for as long as he's with Philip Rivers for the years to come. He's a stud.
Can I ask you what they do to the Charger players in the locker room? Because I'm pretty sure he broke his collarbone on that play.
Yeah, he definitely, it looked like he definitely hurt himself, but he found a way to fight through the pain, and he was able to play and kick ass. He was really awesome. Matthews with 29 carries for 103 yards. His average was 3.6 yards per carry, which is whatever. Wow. Akeem Nicks actually had a good week. He
caught the Hail Mary at the end of the half. Don't even count it.
I know, but still.
Don't even count it. He caught the 40-yard Hail Mary at the end of the half.
Hey, he still had 135 yards passing. That's more than he's had in a while.
It's more than he's had all season.
He still hasn't scored a touchdown yet. So you got to think he's not going to be getting a lot of money this offseason when he's due as a free agent. I definitely see him coming back because no one's really going to want him. I don't know. For the money they're going to be asking, he's going to hit reality this coming offseason, and it's going to be sad for him. Especially a player at the caliber he was a few years ago before he got hurt. It's really sad to see. Coming up this week, we have the Legion of Boom coming into MetLife Stadium. The Seattle Seahawks, who are 11-2, coming into the game. And honestly, you'd expect the Giants to play hard, but honestly, the way the Seahawks have played this year, the Giants are going to lose. They're going to finish the season 7-9 or 6-10. Unfortunately, they're just a better team right now. Their defense is very stout and good. Especially the way the Giants wide receivers have been playing, there's no way they're going to be able to overcome the Legion of Boom with Richard Sherman and the other wide DBs on the Seahawks.
Earl Thomas, 3 picks this week.
Yeah, this week's going to be the ugly Eli game that he throws 5 picks and just have an ugly game at MetLife Stadium. It's just going to be an ugly game.
Nasty weather.
And with Marshawn Lynch, our defense is definitely not going to stop him. So
it's good as we've played against the run.
As good as we're going to play against the run, Marshawn Lynch is the toughest one out of everybody. And we played McCoy and
Forte,
AP and for all the tough running backs, but he's the most physical one out of everybody.
Oh yeah.
So they're gonna just keep on pounding the ball. Russell Wilson's been playing pretty great. So it's gonna be a tough matchup, and it's going to be it's going to be, if the Giants keep it close, it's going to be a low-scoring game because I don't see the Giants' offense this year being able to compete with Seattle's defense.
You said Russell Wilson.
Yes.
MVP talks?
Yeah, he has MVP talks, but Peyton Manning's going to win it because he should get some talk because it's a breath of fresh air hearing someone new for a change.
Right.
They are 11-1, and they've been playing great. Last week's game in San Fran was a great close game.
Is it 11-2?
Yeah, they are 11-2. What did I say?
You said 11-1.
Oh, my bad. 11-2. They played phenomenal. Well, they were 11-1 last week, and they played a tough game in San Fran, which you expect. You want to see Seattle be able to take care of business on the road. Granted, they might not even need it, because they are the top seed in the NFC right now. And if they are the the number 1 seed throughout the NFC playoffs, there's very few teams that will be able to handle the 12th man up in Seattle. And I think the only team that could probably handle that would be the 49ers, because they've been there a bunch of times because they're division rivals. And they are the biggest rival for them as of late. All the other teams are not ready to beat Seattle in Seattle. You've seen it. You've seen both of them. All the other teams have played there and haven't looked good at all. So it is Seattle's run to the Super Bowl if they have the shot to do it. I think they definitely do.
The Jets won.
The Jets won, and Geno Smith scored a touchdown for the first time since before Halloween. So that's impressive.
They were still playing baseball when he won.
Yeah, the Jets looked good. They played absolutely smart and sound. And they actually was able to beat the Raiders. They scored a lot of points. They got a block. I saw your was it tweet or Facebook that
the Raiders have to be one of the first teams ever to have a punt block for a touchdown into the same end zone in the same stadium in a season.
Yeah, it's
on the road. On the road, because it can happen at home multiple times.
Well, obviously,
but on the road. Twice in one season, they go to the same place, the punt blocked into the same end zone.
That was kind of crazy. Unfortunately, Pryor was hurt, and they put in Matt McGloin. Seemed that Pryor
No, they started McGloin. He struggled. Yeah. They put in Pryor.
Pryor wasn't healthy enough.
And then they put McGloin
back in. Yeah, it was what it was. The Raiders, that's what happens when you fly cross-country. 1 o'clock game, 10 o'clock game in their body clocks. It's going to be a rough one. It's without a doubt going to be a rough one, and the Jets took advantage of it. And they actually look like a real team. The Jets are barely alive, but they're still alive in the thick of things with how mediocre the AFC has been so far this season for the last spot, the last 6th spot right now. It's anybody's ball game. Granted, there has to be a lot for the Jets to overcome, but their defense can help it out as of late. I don't see that happening, though. Unfortunately, there's just too many teams to climb. What do you think? They're definitely done.
The Ravens are hot.
The Ravens are finally getting hot, and that's a team everybody should be worried about. They could go if they ever find Ray Rice, who has been a big bust in every facet of the word this year, and running game. If they find any sort of running game, and Joe Flacco is being able to throw to Dennis Pitta, who came back from injury, he's one of Joe Flacco's favorite targets, and now he's back. They have another weapon to their offense that's been pretty sluggish this year. They're going to be a tough out. They're going to be a tough out if they make the tournament, and I could see them maybe pull an upset depending on who they play in the first round. But with the Jets, who the Jets playing this week? Let's see. They're playing
in Carolina.
They're playing in Carolina. Oh boy! All right, know how high we were talking about them winning against the Raiders. It's how low it's going to be next week when they talk about the Jets losing to the Panthers. Remember how I picked the who did I pick? The Saints to win last week. It's the same that goes for the Panthers this week. They went to a road team. They were the road team on a primetime game. There was a tough place to play on the road.
You're not going to New Orleans or winning.
Either, yeah.
Especially a week after a blowout.
Yeah, especially very angry and pissed off. Cam Newton's going to just find a way to torch it up. Panthers are going to win this one outright. I don't see any. They're just going to fight for a little bit, but the Panthers are going to find a way to take care of business because I
like Carolina's defense.
I like Carolina a lot this year. It took me a while to like them, but after watching them a lot this year, they're really impressive, and I hope they make a run to the playoffs. Not guaranteed or anything, but it's a shot. It's definitely a shot. Cam Newton's finally growing up, which is great to see.
I think this is the year he gets his playoff experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you on that. But they could definitely easily win a game. They could definitely steal a game, depending on who they play.
Right.
They could easily go to Dallas or Philadelphia and steal a win.
Are you kidding? If it ended right now, they're playing Detroit. You're telling me they can't beat Detroit?
They could easily beat one of those three teams that I mentioned. They could easily beat one of those teams. And if the Bears might find a way to make it, they could beat the Bears as well. It might be a little colder in Soldier Field, but they could easily beat one of those four teams that we had mentioned. So it's going to be interesting to see what goes on with that.
I'm very interested to see. I know everybody else is. So sit back. Enjoy your Week 15 of the NFL.
Yeah, so both New York teams are going to lose this week, unfortunately, but we got to suck it up. It is what it is.
Hey, it happens, right?
Yep.
Let's go listen to more Division 1.1 Freak Show, and we'll be right back to talk some hockey.
SND Podcast is in no way affiliated with, associated with, produced, or endorsed by the National Football League or any of its affiliates.
All right, welcome back to the S&D Podcast. You're just listening to more Division 1.1. We got to do this segment. The next segment is the local hockey teams. At this moment, both the New York Islanders and New York Rangers are both playing in very cold streak slumps. Mazel tov to the Islanders for finally winning a game on Tuesday night against the San Jose Sharks in overtime. They won 3-2. Finally. Let's start with the Islanders, Steve. What is going on in Islander land?
Nothing.
The
Strom Almighty is coming. Strom Almighty is coming. The God from the heavens is coming.
Oh, God. Okay.
Isles Twitter. Isles Twitter.
Isles Twitter. Okay. Once again, thanks for Andy for coming on last week, by the way, before we started. The Islanders are just playing just garbage. That's all I need to say.
They can't score.
They can't find ways to score, and they can't have John Tavares do everything.
I'll tell you what, Vanek's getting hot. He has 2 goals in 2 games in a row.
Yes. Still, bad trade by trading Matt Molson.
I love the trade.
Hashtag Islanders Twitter. And let me finish.
Still love the trade.
I like the trade, too.
But yeah, he's getting hot. And then Tavares is starting to step up also. Any production out of the rest of the team. Bad news, Lubo's still not clear to do anything.
He's still on the bike?
I don't even think he's still at the bike anymore. It's been bad for him. Unfortunately, it's just upsetting. Apparently, he's still very sick. But they're getting no production out of the defense. Defense has been subpar. And bright side also, Nabako's been practicing. So it looks like Naby's going to be back soon. Hopefully he'll step it up and be able to play.
The Islanders need that. Granted, the Islanders have been playing good with Poulin and Nilsson, both playing pretty solid as of late. Would you say so?
No.
No?
Nilsson hasn't been playing well at all. I don't think he's been better of the two, quote-unquote. I think Poulin's actually been slightly better. They've both been giving up 3 or 4 goals a game. We hit the hot West Coast trip because every team in the West Coast has been extremely hot. But still, it's no excuse. Islanders just don't show up to games. I did like, I don't know if you heard the Dave Demishek podcast Adam Rank gave us in the Islanders a little shout out because of the jerseys being old school. Because the Kings wore their old school jerseys this week.
Of course.
Against them. So that was cool. So I would just like to say to Adam Rank, you're welcome for the win. We gave that one to you.
Yeah, the way the Islanders have been playing, it's been pretty gross.
Doesn't get any easier. They're going to Phoenix, and they got to play the Habs at home, the Lightning at home, the Rangers. They got the Ducks coming to town. It never gets any easier.
No, never. The Islanders just got to stay the course. It's very disappointing how they turned out to be so far. They're one of the bottom tier teams at the moment. It's just like how the Knicks and the Nets we talked about. They just got to stay the course and weather the storm and try to fight back and see what they can do. The damage is already done, and they got to fight through the muck. Do you think they're going to find Capuano if it gets any worse?
Yes. But, of course, typical Islanders, I'm going to call it now that we're going to wait for a big-time coach, and Doug Waite's going to be the coach.
Yeah, of course. That's typical Islanders move. Right.
That's the Islander way of doing things.
So what do you think the Islanders are going to do this week?
Nothing.
Nothing? They're going to lose both games?
Let's see. The Habs have won about, I believe it was 10. I think they were 9-0-1 going into the other night and then lost 9-1-1 in their last 11. You got them coming in. Phoenix is on fire.
Yikes.
Tampa's been one of the surprise teams of the year.
Even with Stamkos being out. That's impressive.
You mean the guy from God Town? I
think the Islanders make a coaching change before the Islanders get any better anytime soon.
I think Capuano stays till after the new year.
Okay.
I think that it's going to end up being once the new year hits because you really don't have any quote-unquote marquee matchups that are coming up, so to say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that you have to worry about being televised and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Until the outdoor game.
Gotcha. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Very, very fair. I don't know. If they want to stop the bleeding, use a scapegoat. It would be the perfect time, since they have lost 10 before our Tuesday night's game. They did lose 10 in a row. So if you were gonna fire a coach, that would have been the perfect time doing it. Since he probably didn't fire him, he's gonna have another few weeks to try to right the ship. Because if he didn't get fired the other night, there's no way he's gonna get fired anytime soon. And you noticed that. The Islanders got to just play better. Let's switch gears to the other New York team, the New York Rangers. They're in the embark of a long homestand, the longest homestand of the season. They already started an 0-3 start, and it's ugly. They're not getting any scoring. They're not even getting any goaltending. I went Sunday night. It was just one of those ugly games against the Capitals. They played good in the first period. The second period, they lost on a hustle goal. Then, unfortunately, Henrik Lundqvist let go one of the easiest goals from the point. He was just shocked and let it go. And from that moment on, the game was over. And like that, the Rangers just need to get that goal score. They need to get the offense going and the defense going. They just look like they're stuck in mud. And I don't know if that's because of their new system with AV, but they need to get something going. And AV actually made a comment the other day saying that he needs to get more players fit his style of play. That's never good to say, Ryan Callahan's hurt for a few weeks with the knee injury. That's unfortunate. Like we both agree on and say that he's been a hard-nosed player, and he just can't stay healthy this season, and it's really sad to see a player with his caliber and heart that he can't stay on the ice this year so far. Lundqvist got a contract extension that happened after our show last week, so congratulations to Henrik on that, but he hasn't earned it so far with the contract so far with the way that he has been playing so far this season. So he's going to snap out of it eventually. That's what happened when the defense is not really showing up and him giving up crappy goals here and there. So
the Rangers have to step up, especially now that Callahan's out.
They do.
They lost the heart. They lost their heart with that moment, and they need to step up.
Absolutely.
Interesting to see if they actually do. I don't know who's going to step up in the presence. I'm sure they're going to recall JT Miller.
They probably are 100% probably going to call him.
There's also no physical aspect to their team. So, I don't know what's going to happen with the Rangers. I'm sure Tablet's going to play a couple more games coming up. Keep Lundqvist's head on.
Yeah.
But I'm not worried about Lundqvist. I'm not really worried about the Rangers. I think that they're going to start to score eventually. And it'll all just come together, just like it usually does at the end of the year. I feel like they have a lot of players on their team that are worried about getting hurt for the Olympics. And once the Olympics are over, you're going to see the Rangers completely turn around. Hopefully it won't be too late.
I hope it's not too late, because it's too early in the season. The Rangers are a 500 team right now, and how bad the Metropolitan Division has been, they're easily still number 3 team in that division. They could easily catch her at hot. They just got to get the timely goals. They just can't get goals. If you're beating the Rangers by 2 goals, the game's over. You know the Rangers are not coming back and scoring 3 goals to beat you.
Yeah. And it's been the same thing over and over again.
Correct.
You outscore the Rangers, you win the game.
Of course.
You score more than 2 goals, you win the game.
And the Rangers have to play better at home ice. I don't get what's up with Madison Square Garden, but neither the Knicks or the Rangers can find a way to win at the Garden, and they've.
Maybe the construction was like a bad voodoo.
Maybe. It's a bad excuse, and that's what it all comes down to at the end of the day. But both the Knicks and Rangers got to start winning at the Garden. That's their home court, the world's quote-unquote the world's most famous arena, and they got to start acting like it. And it starts with the rest of the homestand. Granted, they started on a rough start. They could easily pick it up and make a respectable homestand out of this. It's up to the Rangers to step up and prove them right. I think they will.
I think they will. I don't see why they should have any issues stepping up. Like I said, I feel like they're just afraid of with the Olympics coming up. Like, Nash wants to play for Canada. Like, you got so many players who just want to play in the Olympics now.
Yeah.
Like, they have a legitimate, 5-6 guys who are probably going to make the Olympics, the Rangers.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, let's not get hurt now so we don't risk that.
Well, we already have one hurt with Callahan with Team USA.
Constantly. Right.
Constantly hurt. The two. Rich Team USA needs him. That caliber player to be on the Olympic team. Especially a grinder.
Yeah.
So.
An all-around great player. That's what I see.
Especially on the penalty kill.
But yeah, both teams just have to step it up and turn it around. That's basically all they got to do.
They both need to wake up and get their heads out of their butts and start playing old-time fashion, good, solid hockey. Neither of them have been playing that as of late, and they got to pick it up. They're both not playing up to their potential that we both said at the beginning of the year.
Agreed.
And it's a shame.
100% agreed.
It's really a shame for both teams right now. Rangers are more frustrating because they will win 1, lose 2, win 2, lose 3. Kind of team so far this year. Post the Islanders, they're just been abysmal, just losing games left and right. And not when you get a win, you're shocked and happy, but next game the Islanders don't show up and play well and lose. So out of the two teams, the most frustrating team it has to be the Rangers.
Agreed, 100% agreed. Especially because they had a lot more expectations than
that too.
The Islanders. But now we're gonna go listen to more Freak Show by Division 1.1, and we will be right back with Alex from the Brooklyn Nets fan club.
S&D Podcast is no way affiliated with, associated with, produced, or endorsed by the National Hockey League or any of its affiliates.
podcast show on the Schmuck Sports Network. Once again, that was Division 1.1 with the Freak Show. Now we'd like to welcome in our guest for the evening. Welcome back to the show, Alex, from the Brooklyn Nets fan club. What's up, Alex?
Hey, guys. Not much. Great to be back. How are you guys doing?
Can't complain other than the two local basketball teams, the Knicks and Nets. More in particular, we're talking about the Nets, obviously, with you. What's going on with the Nets? There is a bunch of injuries, like we all know about. It's a team that hasn't been playing together. What is the big alarming issue with the Nets so far in this early stretch of the season?
Well, injuries are definitely one of the big ones, but you can't kind of make excuses over that, and that's what like Knicks fans and other fans are saying. You can't make excuses based on injuries. So one thing is, on Jason Kidd's opening press conference, when he was just signed by the team, he mentioned how his offense was going to be running around Darren Williams, all the passing, everything. But Darren Williams is gone. Now you have Sean Livingston, the defensive-minded point guard, who, no question, has a huge basketball IQ. Don't want to downgrade him, but he runs a different offense. He's more of a slow-paced guy. So Kidd had to pretty much switch up his entire offense, and that kind of made the training camp that they had useless. Now, as you saw last night with Darren back, 25.7 assists, and the entire team was pushing it up the court, everyone together, and a huge run over Boston. So things are finally coming back together. They had Pierce back yesterday, but he was still playing with his kind of cast on his hand, so shooting was uncomfortable. They still need Terry and Kirilenko back, but everything's coming together.
All right, the Knicks and Nets did play each other last week with the Knicks handling the Nets 113-83. Alex, the Nets are now on a 2-game winning streak since that game. Do you think that game may have motivated the Nets as a team to say, okay, now it's time to turn it around?
Well, of course a 38-point loss motivates the team, but this season they're pretty much used to that because I'm pretty sure this is maybe their fourth 30-point loss. I know they had one to Minnesota, but after so many losses, you stop counting. So with that, it was more of a hard game. Knicks wanted it more than Nets, and that was evident with Bargnani and Kevin Garnett's face right from tip-off. So the Nets saw it as just a regular game that they had to win, and that's why they didn't have the rivalry mentality like they did on the home opener against Miami. Yes, they did bad in the season opener against Cleveland, but they came in thinking that it was a rivalry against Miami, and they did what they had to do. And that just didn't happen against New York.
Yeah, I could definitely understand that and see that. With Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, they're finally showing their age. What do you think will need them to come back and bounce back and be the all-stars that the Nets ultimately signed them for? I know Pierce has been hurt and KG hasn't played as much because of his injuries. But what do you expect out of them now for the rest of the season with all the injuries and everything else going on with them?
Well, what they're producing right now isn't much off of what we expected once we got them. We knew they were going to be the people they were in their prime. They were seasoned veterans. They came for their IQ. Paul Pierce said before the season that he's going to be a quote-unquote glorified role player, and that's what he's doing. His shot is flat right now, so he's assisting, rebounding, and last night he ran the bench. So Kevin Garnett, he's there for boards because Brook Lopez is more of a scorer rather than a rebounder. So he's there to represent the team. And yes, he might get a little bit better as everyone gets healthier. And Garnett's been mostly healthy for the year. Yes, he's had his off days from rest, but it's really reliant on the other pieces around them, like Darren Williams, because he's the facilitator. Kevin Garnett right now, he might not be in his prime enough to work on isolation. That's why he needs that point guard to give him those open looks. And I think with Darren back, everyone will start playing much better.
It's funny as you say about the rebound situation for KG. He did have 9 rebounds last night, which was pretty solid for a given game. It's kind of crazy to think about how Brook Lopez is 7 foot tall, and he only got 3 rebounds in the whole entire night last night. That's kind of crazy, especially since he played 37 minutes. That's just I don't know. Of course, you're gonna get the scoring out of Brook Lopez. Do you ever think he's gonna fully develop that defensive game especially coming out of your big man?
I mean, you can't really rely on him right now to put up maybe 20 and 10 a night and be like maybe an Andre Drummond as of right now. You're getting the scoring out of him, you're getting the efficiency, and that's what they need because they have a Reggie Evans and a Kevin Garnett. And from last season, you saw how he improved drastically on defense, and with KG there, I think over the season he'll improve much more. His blocks went up, I think, doubled from 2 seasons ago to last season. And just with KG there kind of mentoring him as he's doing with the other bigs, I think he'll definitely get that defensive mindset that KG has been preaching from the beginning. He's very active in practices, and it's almost impossible not to get the message.
I could definitely see what you're talking about with the whole KG taking him under his wing, because he is one of the, like we mentioned when we came on for the NBA preview. He is arguably one of the most underrated big men in the game, and it's going to be interesting to see how he takes what KG's taught him over the last year or however long he's been going to be with the Nets, and how much better he's going to improve with KG under his wing. Next topic. All right, Jason Kidd, rookie coach. It's so far 7-14 right now. A little bumpy ride with Lawrence Frank. What do you think about Jay Kidd's coaching style through these amount of games so far?
Well, I mean, he's been short, but with Darren back, I think the offense that he's built around him can finally show itself, and then he can finally be judged. Yes, he should take the blame for part of what happened. Everyone should as an entire team. But now that his offense can run around the passing as he wanted it with Darren back, he'll finally be able to show what he can actually bring to the team. But with the turmoil with Lawrence Frank and the defense, one thing is that Kevin Garnett, since they had to completely change their defense almost, because they were saying they had to, quote-unquote, erase what Lawrence Frank taught them. And after last night's win, Kevin Garnett went to the press and said that Kidd simplified the defense. So maybe that's a good thing, maybe it's not, but it definitely worked, and that's all that matters.
Moving forward, is there like some sort of move you would want to see the Nets make as a fan? Would you say like there's a certain spot on the team, like a position, that you would be interested in trying to upgrade?
I mean, you can't really base who you want to upgrade until you've seen the entire team together. Because you've had Allen Anderson starting, who he was signed as our last free agency signing, to be a third man off the bench, and now he's coming in starting, playing 33 a night. And before you might have thought, okay, let's get rid of him and put somebody else in, but now you're thinking, wow, I need him so much. So until everyone's healthy, you can't really decide, but we're very limited on the moves that we can make because we cannot afford to give up another draft pick, because I'm pretty sure we don't have a first-round pick until 2018 or 2017. So with that, they have to, it's win now and then rebuild, or as much as Prokhorov can pull out of his pocket to stay strong. But the future is slim right now, and you can't afford to give up more picks to get anyone to improve a little bit more. You're already deep enough, just have to stay healthy.
You're absolutely right with that. And especially with the Eastern Conference, how it is right now, the Nets could easily get hot and find a way to get into the playoffs. And you just, as long as you get into the tournament, anything can happen.
Definitely. After this 2-game winning streak, they're now in third place in the division from last. So anything can happen in a matter of a day.
Yeah, absolutely. And that just goes to show how awful the Atlantic Division has been so far. Boston Celtics are in first place right now, and they're barely above 500. So there is a lot of hope in the Barclays Center right now. With your group, is there any what's been going on with your website and on the Twitter feed and everything? Did you guys go to your first game yet?
Oh yeah, we've been to games, but right now we're working on another game for the future, and that's looking to be March 5th versus Memphis. And that's going to be lower level seating and completely different experience, thunder sticks for the fans. So we're still getting that finalized, and information will be posted on our Twitter page, which is at Bnfc, Facebook page, Brooklyn Nets Fan Club, and Instagram also at Brooklyn Nets Fan Club. So make sure you follow, stay tuned, and we'll keep you guys updated.
Awesome. Which game did you guys go to? Like, tell me about the event.
Well, of course, as I mentioned before, we went to the October 17th game of the retirement ceremony of Jason Kidd.
Oh, that's right.
Also went to the Monday game against Portland, which, although had a nice first half, they lost it completely with no three-point defense. So it wasn't a very fun one.
How was the Jason Kidd retirement ceremony?
I mean, it was very upbringing, very humbling to see how he wanted to bring his entire team with him up there because he knew that those were the people that got him where he was and where he is today, and that he wanted it to be in preseason so the attention wasn't on him during the season. But just to see an entire legend that many Nets fans grew up watching and his number getting retired, just like, it's an emotional experience, and it really makes you happy to see him retire in Brooklyn rather than with the Mavericks, with the Suns, or even sadly with the Knicks, even though there's a small chance of that. But it was definitely a nice experience. Only going to see it once, and glad I was there.
Awesome. Me and Steve like to do our weekly Who Are the Nets Playing before our next show. So
Okay.
since we have you on this week, all right, since they already beat the Bucks and Celtics, we got the 2-game winning streak. Now, on December 12th, they play at home against the Clippers. And then they have a quick travel, not overnight travel to Detroit. Then they play the 76ers and the Wizards. What do you think? What do you expect out of the Nets out of that little stretch of games? What do you expect as a big Net fan following the team throughout this whole entire season, through pretty much every moment so far in this early season? What do you expect the Nets to do this week?
Well, based off what we saw last night, you can easily think they can go 4-0 in those 4 games, but right now in the season, you have to be able to set your expectations a little bit lower. And one of the good things is that we've played 3 out of those 4 teams already this season, and even though we lost to all, we can kind of know what to expect now. The Clippers, we played them with 1 starter, and tomorrow we're going to be playing them with all 5. Maybe Pierce coming off the bench, but that's still not finalized. We're much more healthy now, even though we're going to be in their building. Our building. Makes it a little bit better. And just coming off a 2-game winning streak, spirits are high, heads are up, and I think just that momentum will be able to get them that W. With Detroit, them and their huge, great front line of Greg Monroe and Andre Drummond, it seems hard to take them with a softer center like Brook Lopez, but also, just like Brook Lopez did last night against Jared Sullinger with the mismatch in size, he can do the same thing to Andre Drummond and expect a lot of that. Obviously, they're a little bit weak at the shooting guard. It's Rodney Stuckey, Chauncey Billups, and Joe Johnson can really take advantage of that part. 76ers, it's on and off with them. Michael Carter-Williams, if this was Darren was out and Livingston was there, completely different story. Carter-Williams could probably outrun him even though Livingston's more defensive. But now it's going to be Darren Williams teach the youngster a lesson. And that's what you hope to see as a fan. And they've been definitely a big surprise this season. But although with them off to a hot start, they kind of cooled off right around now. So I think we're getting in at a good time. And with the Wizards, we played them. They destroyed us pretty much, more emotionally. And I think now we have a better understanding of what they can do because Marcin Gortat, he was only there for a few games when he came, and we didn't know anything about what he could do with that team because he had nothing with them. It was a completely different system in Phoenix. So now watching a lot more tape, I think that just same thing going back to the winning streak and having Darren back, they'll be able to pull out that one also.
Okay. I'm actually going to be at the game Monday against the 76ers, so I'm excited to see that. Let's talk a little around the league now. Who do you fear more right now, the Pacers or the Heat?
going forward?
You might hate me for saying this, but I don't think I fear anyone. Because seeing from that home opener, it showed that we can take care of the Heat. Obviously, we need Kirilenko back, and I'm not trying to be boastful right now, but after that, to see how we feel during a rivalry game, to see that we can take care of business, and that was with Darren playing some limited minutes, and now him coming back, playing full minutes, hopefully staying healthy, they could probably take care of them. And also, last season they were able to sweep the season series against Indiana. Most of the games were at Indiana, and they were, I think, the second best home team last season, and one of the wins was without Darren Williams. So, defensively and pretty much on both sides of the floor, we were built to beat them last season, and now just improving on those pieces this season, it's much easier to win. Although they did beat us already, and we were banged up a little bit, to see that we came close and made it a fight really shows that with a few more pieces, we're able to take them down. Obviously, they're off to a great start, and don't want to down them, but I think with Brooklyn getting healthier, next matchup, Nets should get that one.
Interesting. No,
that's the mentality,
No, you got to have that mentality. If you talked to me a couple weeks ago before the Knicks started 3-15, I'd probably have the same mentality. But the Nets, like we mentioned before, with the Nets, it's mostly been injuries right now. So a lot of them have been getting that pass right now because, like we mentioned before, the Clipper game, they only started. They only had one starter pretty much.
Yes, Joe Johnson.
Joe Johnson was the only guy starting, and their main focal point of the team, Deron Williams, hasn't been healthy. So if they get that going, they can easily become a contender for the Atlantic Division. And God knows, if it all comes down to matchups and who's hot or who's not. So you never know. Granted, the Heat and the Pacers are on a league of their own. It's going to be those two on the top two seeds and everybody else in the cluster right now. So it's going to be interesting to see what unfolds, especially with the Eastern Conference as in shambles as it is.
Well, definitely. I mean, as it's better that everyone's bad than just a few teams are bad. So it's sad from a fan's perspective of, say, the NBA, but it gives the bottom feeders hope.
Yeah, it's really sad to see. It's just really hard to fathom that the whole conference is garbage other than those two teams right now.
I mean, it's better to go down together than alone.
Yeah, I guess so. What do you expect? What do you think about Kobe coming back the other night?
I mean, I kind of want to compare that to Darren Williams. Darren Williams has the age on him, how he's much younger. Kobe is an old guy coming off that injury. He's always been a little bit banged up, so you obviously can't expect so much from him, even though the media blew it up. So he's going to make a slow start back. He'll help them out a little bit, but it's not like they were at the bottom of the West without him. They were still able to do something, and I think just with that little added boost, they might be able to fight for the 8th spot. But you got to give him some time. Eventually, maybe within a month, he'll get back to the real Kobe that he was, say, last season.
Yeah, it is impressive him coming back at the age, especially with the Achilles injury.
Yeah, it's definitely motivating for the rest of the team that somebody like that can just fight back.
Yeah, absolutely.
As quickly as he said.
Yeah. It was pretty amazing. He's one of those kinds of players of once and twice in a generation kind of thing. Like he overlapped. He was pretty much between LeBron and Michael Jordan, kind of to his own. He's arguably up there with them, but it really is amazing that kind of that caliber of player being able to fight back at such an older age now. That if he was 10 years younger, he would have been able to get back with no problem. So
he's a warrior. He has the entire city of LA on his back, and he has to provide. I mean, I think he's being paid enough to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. He did get payday the other day. It is interesting to see that the Lakers are not the number one Los Angeles team out there right now. It's kind of crazy, but it's cool.
It's getting used to, but
it's kind of cool to see.
It's been one of those things where you kind of wanted to see that happen because you just got to a point where you felt bad for the Clippers.
Yeah, you do. You definitely do.
I mean, they worked through the draft with Blake Griffin, and then they got who was supposed to be a Laker, Chris Paul. So they got the better end of the bargain, and
now they have an elite coach.
Gets to the top.
And now they have an elite coach with Doc Rivers. Yeah. So
who's now playing coaching against Boston right now in Boston. That's a very emotional game.
Around the NBA, what is your biggest surprise right now, Alex?
Probably Portland. Them, I'm pretty sure they're 18-3 right now.
Sounds about right.
18-4, sorry. But they have the roster, and they just needed that Damian Lillard 1 year of extra experience to get to the top. I've always had confidence in them. I've loved LaMarcus Aldridge's draft. I thought he was a great player. But I never expected them to be number 2 right now and just phenomenal. Or number 1, I'm not sure. But just to be at the top, I thought maybe a 4 or 5 team would be good for them. I thought that would be very rewarding. But just to see, because I saw the Nets play against them, they're a very good team from 3. And they really put that intimidation in other teams and makes teams just want to not even play them at all. And having like people that are overlooked, like Wesley Johnson on your team, blow up, say, 30 a night on an opponent, just really makes all those people watching tape waiting to play Portland say, who should I guard? Do I double team? Do I say triple team? And how much are they going to repay me on that 3 that I'm not guarding somebody deadly? It just, a lot of fear goes into that opponent, and they're just going to keep rolling until somebody finds a way to cure it.
All right, Alex. At Bnfc, correct?
Correct. That's for Twitter, and then Brooklyn Nets Fan Club for Instagram and Facebook.
I actually like what he's doing, like a lot of computer graphics. Do you do the pictures of it yourself, or you have another guy in the group?
Well, we have a whole team doing it, so it's not just one person.
Yeah, you guys are doing a great job. Definitely great job promoting the site and the group of everything. So keep up the good work. Hopefully the Nets start winning a couple games for you guys.
Thank you very much. Appreciated.
Definitely both of your teams need to start winning to get that basketball alive and kicking right now. And
you definitely miss that rivalry now.
Yeah, it really
so
is.
Heated, and I mean, even though last season, the beginning, right now, Nets were trailing the Knicks by 3. Now I think the Nets are up by 3 games around. You just really want that competitive aspect right now. Have the fans fighting rather than the fans fighting who's worse, fighting who's better.
Yeah, exactly. Like last week's game was really a downer because everybody expected it was going to be top of the Atlantic Division and opposed to be the bottom.
Yeah, I was seeing that lower level seats that were dropping $200 right before the game.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say a week before.
Yeah, what I think is they need a playoff matchup.
Yeah, for it
heavy-duty playoff
for it to be a real rivalry, yeah, I definitely agree with you.
That would definitely be fun. I'm not sure if you saw the headline, but right now, since the Knicks are playing Chicago, they were saying rumors that the Knicks are going to try and chase Tom Thibodeau to come to New York.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that could spice something up. I doubt it. He refused to comment on it.
I highly doubt it. The Knicks had a shot to hire him. They hired D'Antoni way back when, which I, at the time, thought was a really stupid idea at the time, considering Thibodeau was an assistant coach when the Knicks had a Van Gundy. With that being said, he's not leaving Chicago anytime soon.
Definitely, D-Rose or not, he's still staying.
Yeah, he's a great coach.
He's made his mark there, and I don't think they can forgive him if he left.
Absolutely. Well, Alex, thank you for coming on.
Thank you guys for having me.
Good, and have a great night.
You too.
SNDPODCAST is in no way affiliated with, associated with, produced, or endorsed by the National Basketball Association or any of its affiliates.
And welcome back to the SND Podcast Show on the Schmuck Sports Network. Once again, episode 56, Freak Show, Division 1.1. Check them out.
Yeah,
Facebook.
no, definitely checking them out. They're definitely still working hard on making new music, so bear with them.
And they have a show coming up. I should have more info for everybody next week. We were talking just now to Alex. Thank you to him once again for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you, Alex.
We didn't really touch on the Knicks. Dan, my question to you is, okay, Woodson, of course, probably end up getting canned eventually.
Okay, since we didn't really get to talk about last week, since we found out the rumor after we record, and the rumor really ticks me off.
About Allen Houston.
Yeah.
Okay, forget the rumor.
Okay.
Forget the rumor, because it's just annoying and...
Yeah, it's just the Garden being the Garden.
Right.
That rumor is 100% Garden being Garden, and they don't know what they're doing.
My question to you is, if he does get canned, what about a George Karl?
No, definitely not happening, because you know how it worked out the last time with him and Melo. He already said that's not happening. The thing with the Knicks is they're a bigger mess than what everybody leads on to be. No one likes Jim. No one likes the Dolans. It's just a big cluster. And everybody knows that. Even though no one wants to admit it, everybody knows there's something deeper in what the situation is going on at the Garden right now. And it's really, really getting to the point of it's just a big cluster F right now. I'm keeping it clean for everybody since it's a family show. It is a big cluster right now. And the Knicks got to find a way to right the ship. The Eastern Conference is complete garbage, and if they find a way to get it going, they can easily find a way to get to one of the bottom seeds, maybe middle tier of seeding. That's how good the Knicks could be. Like we said with Alex with the Nets, it's this kind of similar situation. We're missing Tyson Chandler right now, but there's no reason the Knicks should only have 5 wins this year. It's just hustle and effort. They're not moving the ball at all. They're expecting Melo to do everything. Granted, that's okay. You expect him. He's a top 5 offensive player. He's the leading scorer. But there's no secondary scoring. Amari Stoudemire is finally showing up. Bargnani is actually playing quite well. I'm actually pleased with how he's been playing. We need guys. Felton's can't stay healthy so far this season, and that hurts the Knicks a little bit. J.R. Smith needs to wake up. He's still one of the most frustrating players to watch because some nights he'll light it up, and he hasn't lighted it up since the start of the season. And we just need to get the luck that we had last year. You can't go from being one of the top couple teams in the Eastern Conference and completely tank it and be one of the worst teams in the whole entire league. So it is panic time since the Knicks did lose 10 straight games in a row. The Knicks can easily get back into the playoff hunt, but they just don't show heart right now, and that's pretty hard. That's really sad to see, because everybody seems to like Coach Woodson. I personally like Coach Woodson. It's more of the players not executing, and I guess Woodson's going to be the scapegoat. I do not like
always the coach that's the scapegoat,
and I don't like that Woodson would be the scapegoat for Allen Houston to become the head coach, who doesn't have a coaching experience. First of all, he's been his consultant for the general manager. How does he make that big of a jump to become the head coach? That's only the Garden being the Garden. And I'll be honest with you, if they make that move, I will be very upset with the Knicks. I loved Allen Houston as a player, don't get me wrong, but for him to move down to become the interim head coach when we already have coaches on the bench, I know they're nothing compared to Woodson, but that's a big slap in the face, and they got to figure something out. I don't see anybody wanting to coach the Knicks on a half interim basis. They'll say Van Gundy. Van Gundy hasn't coached in ages, and he doesn't want to coach.
Stan Van Gundy.
Oh, Stan?
Stan's the rumor.
Okay. Definitely not Jeff. Stan would be okay. It's just a big cluster, and the Knicks. I think the reason why they haven't pulled the trigger yet because they know how crappy the Eastern Conference is, and they could definitely fight their way back and even win the division.
The way I see it is,
but the effort the Knicks showed on Sunday against the Celtics, that's embarrassing. That's just not showing up, not playing with any heart. How do you lose 40 points at the Garden? At your home court? They just need to start winning games at home. Both them and the Rangers. The Garden fans deserve a lot more, especially the amount of money both teams you have to get to pay to watch them play, and it's really disgusting.
The way you got to look at it in the NBA is, just like any game, every team makes a run.
Yeah, of course.
And all it's going to take is them to get hot.
Yes, and they could easily once they get going, they could easily win 10 in a row. That like they did last year at the end of the regular season.
100% agreed. But
are they better than the Pacers or the Heat? Obviously not. There's a long way to go. They can't even beat the Celtics at home, and they lose by 40 points. It's just disgusting, and I'm just not a happy camper right now with the Knicks, but they can definitely turn it around. It's just we just gotta keep focus on what the goal is at hand. We definitely don't have any draft picks, so we gotta find a way to figure some out. Maybe if we're gonna tank, gotta find a way to get draft picks. That's that. Let's move on to a little brighter note. Let's pick this week's football picks.
Alrighty. Picks. Thursday Night Football. Chargers, Broncos.
Broncos, without a doubt. The Chargers showed me a lot the other day against the Giants, as we actually got to see them for once. There are no Broncos. It's actually at home Thursday night, even with the Wes Welker out.
Chargers are on the road.
That's what I'm saying. Broncos.
Oh, okay. Apologize.
I definitely have Broncos. I'm sure you do too.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. At least fun game this week with the most drama. The Redskins at Atlanta.
I don't think this is the least fun because the Bills and Jaguars play too.
Okay. I'm going to go Redskins. I have a feeling that Kirk Cousins is going to win out this year. I just have that funny feeling.
I'll tell you what, if Kirk Cousins wins out and looks very impressive, there's going to be a team that wanted to draft a quarterback that's going to give a first-round pick away.
Oh, absolutely. But it could be fool's gold. Yeah. Buyer beware.
Yeah, of
course.
But
Kirk Cousins is proven that he can be a good player. So, I'm going to say Redskins.
I'm going to go with the Falcons this week.
Okay. I like Kirk Cousins. So.
Okay.
All right. I got the Redskins on that. Bears and Browns. The Browns have played pretty solid as of late. They had a great game against the Pats, but they were the Browns and found a way to lose. I like the way the Bears played on Monday night against Dallas. It's going to be another cold, freezing game, this time in Cleveland. Color might be back. We are still going to see his game time decision. I'm going to go with the Bears. It's the Bears' division to win. The Lions haven't been playing great as of late. I like the Bears to find a way to pull it out and maybe win the division. What do you have in that game?
Oh, that's a toughie. In Cleveland, Count looked like Peyton Manning on Monday. That's right, I said that.
Yeah, he did. He absolutely did.
I gotta stick with the hot hand and stay with Chicago. I don't think they end up winning the division, but I just like the way they're playing. Next we got the Texans at the Colts. The only AFC team to be eliminated so far, by the way, is the Texans.
Yes. And that's what's scary. I'm gonna go with the Colts. After you fire your coach, not even a week ago. After a lackluster Thursday night game against the Jaguars, they're tanking it for the first pick overall.
What an insult to injury, guys! Basically, almost dies on your field.
Strokes
3 weeks ago.
Strokes out on the field. It's just that's what happens when you lose 10 games in a row. It's very sad to say, but that's the business.
Go with the Colts.
Colts, who have been playing very crappy as of late, they're definitely going to beat the Texans. Not even a doubt. Next game. You might be shocked with what I'm going to say with this game.
Oh, I already have that feeling. Patriots at Dolphins.
Patriots at Dolphins. As of how good and lucky the Patriots have been this year, I like the Dolphins as of late. They went into snowy Pittsburgh and found a way to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Granted, the Pittsburgh Steelers are not what your mom and dad's old Pittsburgh Steelers, but they beat Pittsburgh Steelers in a snowy Pittsburgh game. That has to show you something. And I with Gronk being hurt and done for the season, I'm gonna go with the Dolphins as the upset. They're the home team. They're gonna find a way to sneak one and steal one from the Patriots. But once again, it's gonna come down to the wire, and if the Patriots win, not really shocked. But I'm gonna go with the Dolphins with the upset. They are my upset pick of the week.
I'm going to stick with the Patriots.
Okay, figured. I don't know. I just like the Dolphins. I think they could steal one. So I'm gonna go out on a limb on the Dolphins. Hopefully they don't disappoint. And I especially like Tannehill, especially with no pass rush coming on with the Patriots defense to be nowhere to be found. So
can you kind of say the Eagles are on a bye this week? playing at the Vikings with
At
no
the-
Peterson.
You could say that. But I'm gonna have the Eagles again. They're definitely gonna win the division. Unless they slip up this weekend thinking that they could overlook them. But I'm gonna go with the Eagles this week.
Book it. Week 17, Cowboys-Eagles, Sunday Night Football.
Oh yeah, you could easily book it. It's the typical NFC Championship game, NFC East Championship game. But I think the Eagles have it sealed up.
Alrighty. We both picked the Hawks, beat the Giants.
We'll beat the Hawks, beat the Giants.
This game's interesting. This game might find interesting.
I'm going to go with the Niners. I think they're finally hitting on stride and making the playoffs and making a deep run for the last few years. But if it sounds like you have you're going to pick the Niners, but
no,
you're going
I
Bucks?
think I'm going to go Buccaneers as my upset pick
Okay.
this week.
Okay.
I don't like the inconsistent play out of the Niners this season.
Okay, fair enough. I think the Niners are finally getting a little hot. Buccaneers are going to keep it somewhat interesting, but the Niners are going to find a way.
And I was very impressed with what I saw. Granted, it was against the Bills out of the Bucks last week.
Okay, the Bucks have been playing pretty solid as of late. I think they turned the ship around. They do have the hardest schedule in the whole entire league, if you look at it from game to game.
I think they finally have the quarterback. I think now that with the way what's his name, Rainey's been playing.
Yeah, Rainey's playing.
When you bring Doug Martin back next year, they're going to have 2 running backs.
Yeah.
And then you add Vincent Jackson.
Yeah.
And Mike Williams, who's been on the IR all season.
Absolutely.
I think they have a pretty solid team.
They do.
Foundation.
They have a decent foundation, like you mentioned. They have a shot.
So they're going to be my upset pick this week. The 4-win Bills at the 4-win Jaguars. Yes, I said that.
You gotta keep the
4-win
hot.
Jaguars.
You gotta keep the hot hand with the Jaguars. I'm gonna go with the Jaguars. They've just been playing pretty solid as of late, so I'm gonna go with them.
Yeah. I don't like the Bills.
I'm not a big fan of the Bills either.
All right.
Another year.
Chiefs at Raiders.
Chiefs.
Jets, we both picked the Panthers to beat them. This game's interesting. Rodgers probably a no.
If Rodgers a no-go.
Cowboys have no defense.
If Rodgers is a no-go, I'm gonna go with Cowboys. The Packers do have Rodgers playing. There's no way they're gonna, even with a rusty Aaron Rodgers, Cowboys are not gonna stop him, even on his worst day. So I'm gonna go with Cowboys because I'm gonna assume that Rodgers isn't playing because of after what we've heard that he's a little sore. I think the Packers are gonna go the unpopular situation and just take a loss on this season and have him healthy, 100% ready to go next year. Make a title run.
I think they should do that as well at this point.
So I'm gonna go Cowboys to make the NFC East.
I'm gonna go with the Packers. Just
Okay,
because
you're
I
going
gotta pick
Packers?
somebody different than you.
Okay, I'm
going.
going Cowboys.
This game's interesting.
I don't
The-
think so.
The strangely good Cardinals at the Tennessee Titans. I'm gonna go Arizona, just with the way they've been playing under the radar. Palmer's been old school Carson Palmer. So I'm gonna go with the Cardinals.
You're gonna go. I'm gonna go Cardinals too. They've just been playing. They're just so far this surprise team. They have 8 wins, more wins than anybody can expect. I'm gonna definitely go with the Cardinals. Stay hot. Next game, we're both gonna pick the Saints.
So that was easy. It's an interesting Sunday night football game.
It's gonna be interesting, but I'm gonna go Bengals.
I'm gonna go Steelers.
Okay.
Even though you know I've been riding the Bengals also.
Yeah, you have, but I'm gonna go Bengals. And Ravens Lions. This is a toughie. I'm gonna go with.
At Detroit.
I'm gonna go with Lions. Last week was a tough game in the snow, and they just couldn't find a way to run. It was just stop the run with J.D. McCoy. It's just been one of those weird. That was just one of those epic weird games. And I'm gonna go with the Lions. They're gonna bounce back because they have a shot to win, make a playoff.
I'm going to
push.
take Baltimore in this game. I'm going to take the Ravens in this game. I just like how hot they've been playing. So I'm going to go with the Ravens in this game. All right, let me just give you the clinching scenarios for this week real quick.
Go for it.
Seattle's in. Denver's in for the playoffs. And Indy's already clinched the division.
Okay.
Those have already done. AFC. New England clinches the AFC East with a win.
Okay.
Playoff spot with a Baltimore loss. So basically if they lose, they wait till Monday night. Cincinnati clinches the North with a win and a Baltimore loss. Cincinnati gets a playoff spot with a win and a Miami loss. Denver wins the division with a win and a KC loss. They clinch a first-round bye with a KC and Cincinnati loss, and they win on their own.
Gotcha.
Kansas City's in the playoffs with a win. A win, Miami loss, or a Baltimore loss.
Okay. It's going to be interesting. I think both playoffs are going to be locked up. It's really who's going to get the final seed in the AFC, which all the teams other than the Houston Texans are in a mix for. Granted, we all know realistically there's a lot more teams in that mix that are out of it, but it's really crazy to see what's going to go on with that. With the NFC.
All right, playoff scenarios. Seattle wins the division and a bye with a win and a San Francisco loss.
Okay.
Home field throughout with a win, San Francisco loss, New Orleans loss.
Okay.
New Orleans is in the playoffs with a win.
Okay, so they're winning in.
Winning in, or Arizona lost, Dallas lost, Arizona lost, Philly lost, San Francisco
all
lost.
those losses?
San Francisco, Dallas lost, San Francisco, Philly lost.
Okay, that's a lot of losses.
So basically just winning in.
Yeah, which they probably will.
Carolina's in the playoffs with a win.
Okay.
Arizona, San Francisco, Dallas loss.
Hold on. I'm confused. The Saints was just for the division?
No, playoff berth. These are just playoff berths, not division.
Okay. So
winning in the playoffs.
Okay, so all right,
remember they still play Carolina again.
Okay. I was
They play each
confused.
other
I'm like how the Panthers already winning in as well. Okay. Sorry.
Just playoffs.
Okay.
Carolina playoffs in with a win. Cardinal loss, Niner loss, Dallas loss.
They need all that plus to win?
Or a win, Cardinal loss, San Francisco, Philly loss.
Okay. That's making my head hurt.
And San Francisco's in the playoffs, not the division, the playoffs.
Well, yeah.
With a win, Arizona lost, Dallas loss, or Arizona lost, Philly loss.
Okay.
So again,
teams just at the end of the day, the teams have to take care of their business, and they'll make the playoffs.
Exactly. The only other team.
We're still another week away to make it even more clear.
Hopefully.
Most likely will. It always plans out.
The only three teams that weren't mentioned that can't clinch playoffs is Detroit, Chicago, and Green Bay.
Yep.
And Dallas and Philly. They can't clinch spots. Wow. The NFC's a cluster.
Yeah. Both leagues are complete clusters, and that's what happens when there is parallel team players on every single team. So I don't know.
Okay, my next question to you: anybody who listens to this before the 14th, there are 6 finalists for the Heisman Trophy. Jordan Lynch from Northern Illinois.
He had a great year.
Had a great year. Manziel from A&M, of course, because of his name, he's got to go there.
You will be there anyway, so they might as well.
Trey Mason from Auburn.
Okay.
A.J. McCarron from Alabama.
Okay.
Andre Williams, who also had a very underrated season for Boston College.
Yeah, I actually want the Giants to draft him.
And Winston from Florida State.
Jameson Winston. With all of the public situations going on with Jameson Winston.
I said it last week. I'm picking Winston to win the Heisman.
Yeah, he
They're undefeated.
They lucked out. With there was no criminal charges pressed on him with that awful allegations with him with the sexual assault. So I'm gonna go with him because that would have been a very big black eye if everybody voted for him and he turned out to be a felon. Nope,
yeah.
Laughing aside, but Jameson Wilson, all the personal life and everything aside, he definitely earns the Heisman Trophy of this year. He is clearly the best player. If you're Johnny Manziel, who do you vote for? Because he gets a vote.
You know he's voting for himself. Let's be real.
Yeah.
He's voting for himself.
Probably.
Actually, he may not vote for himself, so he can lose this year so that the Texans don't take him.
Yeah, maybe.
No, for the love of God, don't take me. Speaking of college football, we are doing a Bowl Mania. There is a group. I know a bunch of people have signed up already. Got about, another week? The 18th?
Yeah, we got to get more people on that.
Yeah.
2 minutes.
So, sign up, ESPN.com. It's on our Facebook page. It's on our Twitter page. Check it out. We keep promoting it like crazy. So, make sure you check that out and sign up. Join us. It's just for fun. No prizes like we did for the NCAA tournament last year. Just for fun this time around. Thanks again for checking us out. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, all 9 yards.
Thank you for everything.
Vision 1.1. Eyes on Isles. Don't forget to check them out. Good friend Andy. Blue Line Station. Brooklyn Net Fan Club. Don't forget to check them out.
We got to find a Nick website.
Come on, Arza.
Yeah, we got to find a Nick show because other than me and Keith, we need more talk from Knicks. We got to figure that out.
Well, let's start searching. So if anybody knows anybody, let us know. That's Dan. I'm Steve. We'll see you guys next week.
Have a good one.